Hello there and welcome to this fly fishing video. This is in midsummer in northeast England and I'll be fishing my local river, which is the River Derwent. It's not known for huge fish, but it is a very good river. Recently had fish passes installed and sea trout are starting to come up, but we're not going to be shooting any sea trout videos for a good few years, I don't think, because they're not actually stocking the river with sea trout, which is a bit of a bummer because they've only got like a 3 or 4 year turnaround and then the river would be teeming with fish. But we'll get there on that front. And talking of getting there, this session starts out okay, then goes a bit sluggish, but we get there in the end as far as catching a couple of decent fish go, and one of them in particular is an absolute cracker from a really difficult place to fish. I've just realised that I haven't introduced myself as well, because some people might be just finding this video without actually knowing who the hell I am. My name's Richard, aka Pond Guru, aka 1000 Yard Stare. I've got 2 channels on YouTube and Odyssey. One is Pond Guru, where I cover a lot of aquatic stuff. It's got a diverse range of stuff on there as well. I'll put a link to it in the video description. And the other one is 1000 Yard Stare. This is the one I'm going to be uploading all my new fishing videos onto. I was going to say shooting videos, but maybe it's not on YouTube, possibly on Odyssey, yes. Basically all the outdoorsy stuff, reviews of outdoor gear and all that sort of malarkey. Okay, you're probably sick of hearing me slavering on, let's get into the fishing. Okay, first pool, I call this one the Enigma pool. It looks beautiful, but it hardly ever produces anything over about ½ a pound in weight. They all seem to be tiny little fish, plenty of them, but not very big for some reason. Well, that didn't take long. Probably can't see a tiny little brownie. Nearly had him. A tiny little brownie. And another one. And another one. There just isn't anything big ever rises in that pool, and it looks beautiful. It's got a deep run, it's got overhanging trees, it's got feed lanes going to certain points in it. There just doesn't ever seem to be anything good in it. Hopefully the next one will produce slightly bigger fish and I'll give you a close look at them, if I can catch them. just realised that it's incredibly rude of me not to tell you what sort of fly I'm using. I'll show you now. This is my box of dry flies that I use for the river. As you can see, there's only about 5 or 6 different patterns. You don't need a vast amount of different patterns for this river, but that's what we're using today. I'm not sure how that's going to come out, but I unfortunately don't know the name of this fly, but I know it's meant to represent like a mosquito or a big midgie or something like that. It's got a quill body. It's probably like a winged grey quill or something like that. But if you're using anything like that midsummer, you're going to catch fish, no problem. That one's size 12, and that is big. I would normally use like 14s or 16s, but it's just after mayfly season. You get away with a size 12 because the fish have just been feeding on very big flies. Right, I'm up at the next pool, very deep, very slow for the most part. And I was kind of hoping that it would rain. It feels like it's going to rain. And I've just been sitting here for about 5 minutes just waiting for it to start raining so I can fish in this calm stretch behind me. If it's raining, I can get so much closer to the fish because it breaks up their vision. When it's calm like this, it makes it very difficult. However, there is a few fish rising, so I might as well just make a start. I'll start close in and work my way out. And I will keep very low. Remember, the fish are looking up out of the water, so if you break the skyline, the fish are going to see you. Finally! And it's a better fish as well. Although not much better. Look at that little beauty. Beautiful spots on him. Perfect condition. Little wild brownie. This one's a little bit better. This one is actually a hell of a lot better. Believe it. The leader's come off. Oh, what a tragedy. God. Well, there we go. Look at the size of that fella. Beautiful fish. Give a really dogged fight as well. Oh. Let's get him back. Well, that was a rather embarrassing rookie mistake. When I put the little braided leader on the end of my line last night, I slid the plastic across to secure it, and I didn't have any super glue. And I thought, nah, it'll be alright. I was pulling it, and it was alright until I got a decent sized fish on. Luckily, I was able just to step in and grab a hold of the line and, you know, hand line the fish in. But I won't do that again. Definitely not. So now, talking of knots, the end of the line, I've just got a tiny little knot now, and I've just attached my line straight to that, my nylon straight to that. It's not perfect as far as presentation goes, but it'll do. I've fished like that for years before I discovered braided leaders. So braided leaders are really excellent. You've got a loop in the end, it's easy to tie onto, but they're not essential. Don't believe it, we're about 3 weeks beyond mayfly season, and I've just seen a huge mayfly flying about. So if I get somewhere where there's a decent sized fish that's difficult to get to, I may even try a mayfly pattern. They do have a memory. Fish, you know, people say fish don't remember things, but they definitely do. And if you're not too far beyond where there's been a really good hatch of mayfly, which there was this year, you can still pick them up on those patterns, if they haven't been, you know, caught 2 or 3 times on that particular pattern before. I did get that pretty nice brownie, maybe, I don't know, what, pound and a quarter in weight. I'm not very good at estimating weights because I never really never ever keep the fish. I just put them back, so everyone you see, or everyone I explain to somebody when I'm telling them what size fish I caught, is the definition of a fisherman's tail. I've got no idea how heavy they are. I can just guess. Okay, this is a really fast little runner. Lucky if it's 2 foot deep at the far side of there. We've got overhanging trees, we've got branches in the water again. It's a good environment for trout, it's very well oxygenated. For about maybe 100 yards above this, there's no real pool, it's just all kind of ripples and rapids. So really this is the first opportunity in quite a stretch that the fish get to live in some sort of decent habitat. So everything that lands up there is going to come down into this pool. And that normally makes it a pretty decent one to fish, even though it's so small. A lot of people will just walk past this one, but not me. Again, I'm staying low. Well, that took about 5 minutes to winkle that fish out of there. There you go. Whoa. Another beautiful little brownie. Caught on the same fly. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit smaller, that one. Still a nice little fish. On the same fly. Yeah, another little beauty. Whoops. And he's gone. That's 3 little brownies in a quite short space of time. I think we'll give this pool a rest and go down to the next one. So, I've got to say it, I was expecting something a little bit bigger than this. beauty of using barbless hooks. This one took it right in the back of his tongue, got it out, no problem at all. And that was quite a big hook. It was a size 12, and that was probably a size 18 fish. On to the next bit. Nettles are like chest height, and this is what's awaiting us for the back cast. It's not good to get in with a fly rod down here. Now it is probably one of the more difficult parts of the river to fish with a fly rod, especially an 8-foot one like this. But when you do catch a fish here, it just makes it all the more rewarding. So it's definitely worth trying to take that challenge. And I've just seen a good fish rise over the other side there. Awesome. It's just started to rain. Means if it gets a little bit heavier, droplets start coming in from these overhanging trees. I might even be able to just wade a little bit into the river to get to that fish that's rising on the other side. So many overhanging trees. God, this is terrible. And he's a big lad as well. Oh, there we are. Whoa. There you go. That's a belter. The size of that fella. Beauty, absolute beauty. Fought like a demon as well. As I said 5 minutes ago, it's very difficult to even cast the fly line in this particular part of the river, but when you get a fish on the fly here, it's well worth it. Well, it's absolutely lashing down now. This is the sort of weather that I wanted when I was going for that big fish. But strangely, the rain just seems to have killed off all activity. Could be that there's a lot of beetles and caterpillars and all that dropping in which case the fish might be feeding a little bit lower. Could pick them up on a wet fly, but I don't really want to do that. I want to stick with the dry fly and see just how many fish I can catch on this one fly in this video. So I'm going to go down a little bit further. Dry fly fishing, and it's absolutely slashing down. The fish have gone absolutely dead in there as well. It's a strange sort of time to come fishing though, in midsummer. Early morning is excellent. and then it kind of trails off, and you might get like a mid-afternoon rise or two, and then it just trails off again. The fish become really sluggish, they tend to disappear, and then you normally get a really good evening rise. However, I promised my wife that I would watch the England football game, so I won't be seeing an evening rise. Not in the fishing sense. Anyway, I might fish another pool on the way back. Little devil right at the tail end of the pool. Another little beauty. Going back. There you go, son. Looks like I'm fishing in the jungle on that viewfinder there, with all the mist and foliage and everything. The trees. The grass. The backcast's not too good here. Come on. The grass. I should have probably swapped out this nylon. About 100 casts ago. It's just coiled up, and crinkled and stretched. Hasn't got any knots in though, so it's still strong enough, but God, it's a mess. And I don't think the fly will be presented as good as it could be. That nylon is just so crinkled, it's just absolutely unusable. So I think it's time to go home. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, I will be uploading more fishing videos to this channel, and I've uploaded loads in the past on my other channel, which is called Pond Guru. I will put the link to it in the video description. Check that out. There's a playlist specifically for fishing, but I haven't made a new one on there for a long time, as this is my new channel where I'm going to have all the fishing videos. But there's some pretty good videos on there, most of them fishing this river, all different times of the year, catching all sorts of size of fish on all sorts of types of flies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.